Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back. Welcome back. Mine. Yo. Whew. It's good to be back. It's good to be back, man. Welcome to the 14th 2020 controversial conversation Fireside. I know. I gotta get a shorter. I gotta get a shorter name for these things. I know it's just like Fireside Chat, but then it doesn't encompass all of it. You dig? But anyways, I know it's probably like 2 weeks ago, and I told y'all that I was trying to get back into the swing of things as far as like a daily show again, get y'all more content. I was kind of preoccupied with some of the local social activism. I was trying not to combine those words. I was gonna say local, but local social activism. The movements, the marches, and all those kind of things. And while there's still activism going on in my community that I am taking part in, I don't necessarily have to be as involved right now. So, luckily for y'all, that means more content, more shit talking, more social commentary, more, you know, jokester. Um, and I'm really, really happy about that. But I do have some news. This past weekend at the Juneteenth event, I became a member of the NAACP branch of Houston County, and I am ecstatic. I think it's dope as hell. My mom's went and found a what's it called? A plaque that my grandfather received for becoming a lifetime member of the NAACP, and he had also signed up in June. And I just think that is just amazing. Like, that's just so dope. So I'm proud to be fighting the same fight as my granddad, and I think it's just amazing. So yeah, aside from the occasional NAACP meetings and the occasional weekly dinner that I have with some the activists around here, other than that, I'm here to talk. And talk is what we're gonna do because there's so much going on right now, y'all. So let's just get straight off into it. So if you've heard, there was this incident that might have happened in NASCAR, and the reason I say might have happened because nobody really knows for sure. It could be one of these juicy smoulet, as Chappelle calls it, incidents where it's a fabricated hate crime. Regardless of the fact of whatever actually happened in there, I don't really care. My problem is, why is that this fake noose incident getting way more coverage than the fact that six black and brown bodies have been found hanging from trees in the past month? like bruh, there's two in California, one in Georgia, one in Oregon, one in Texas, one in New York, and they're all being ruled as a suicide. Let's just take a second to think about this. Like, not even taking into account that African American males commit suicide at a rate 60% less than their counterparts when it comes to white males. Taking into a fact that even when they do commit suicide, they use methods more lethal, like firearms being predominantly used, or just taking into the fact that there's a historical context of lynchings that happen, especially when race wars and race tensions seem to be higher than normal. Yeah, so just throwing all of that together, and the best thing that y'all can come up with is six people just decided to hang themselves in the same month. Come on, man. Like, this is just bullshit. And then you had the audacity to say that you have witnesses. So you you're telling me that you have witnesses, people standing here watching a person hang themselves from a tree, right? So they're just sitting there just watching, no intervening, no intervention, nothing like that. They ain't even gonna go jump to help a person hanging themselves from a fucking tree. They're not gonna help, but they're just gonna watch, and then they're not gonna say nothing until the morning. You don't find out. No, bruh. No. One of these was a homeless individual, and there were actually other homeless witnesses that claimed that this person was murdered, and then it was staged. And people like, nah, homeless people gonna homeless people. No, this is fucked up. And the real reason that I believe that nothing's going on is because this is deep, bro. There has to be coordinated attacks. There's no way that all of a sudden you just start seeing strange fruit popping up out of out of nothing but this race for. Like, I can't think of any other reason why these are happening. And you can't tell me it's suicide. Scholars, civil rights activists, historians, everybody's coming out to be like, bruh, come on. Like, y'all know it's some bullshit. And then the fact that it's not even getting enough like coverage. Like, I'm seeing nothing but African American members on my Facebook constantly saying things like, and I've had to say it too, like, if y'all find me hanging from a tree, like, no, it wasn't a fucking suicide. One, like one thing you should know is no, that was not a suicide. But two, burn the whole fucking country down if you find me mysteriously suicided. That's the only way I can put it. 2 shots to the back of the head somehow, or if I'm drowning somehow because I don't be swimming like that. A drug overdose when y'all know I don't be doing it like that. Like, come on, man. Like if y'all see some weird shit like that, just know that shit was staged. Investigate that shit and burn this motherfucker down, bro, because they on some bullshit. Sorry, y'all. I'm heated, man. I have to be on extra high alert because I don't know what's going on. Because one of these happened in my motherfucking state. So I'm sitting here like, damn, me, militant, black, afro, beard, walking around here profiling the fact that fucks I give is none. And I'm sitting here like, what am I supposed to do other than live my life, knowing that I could become a target just for living my life? Fucking scary times we live in, y'all. So, part of what could be going on could be like KKK and police organizations, kind of, backdoor deals and stuff like that. I know it's a conspiracy theory, but it's not a long reach to think since it's been happening forever, right? Which makes you wonder why, like, the Ku Klux Klan still isn't a domestic terrorist group. Like, they have perpetuated domestic terrorism ever since they were started. Like, they were started to instigate and to cause terror in the minority communities. That's the main cause of it. So now they're like, well, they're not as active. Yet you use COINTELPRO to infiltrate black liberation groups, Black Panthers, Muslim separatist group, anything that was about black empowerment, you broke apart. And then there's like an isolated incident of you infiltrating the KKK, and then you didn't do anything but actually incite more terror. Oh man, like it's bullshit, the double standards. Like, the fucked up part is, like, if we were to look at this historically, Black Power was a call to the people to unite, to understand that you don't know where you're from, but you're here in this diaspora called the United States of America, away from your homeland and away from any idea, any culture, any history. So what do? You rally amongst people that look like you, other African Americans, and you put your fist up and you say Black Power. Now, white power has traditionally been used as a term, really synonymous with white supremacy, to hold on to the power of being white. Because if you want to think about it, white isn't anything other than a power structure. You might be Irish, you might be Scottish, you might be German, you might have all kinds of different, ethnicities or, cultural backgrounds that might actually coordinate to a country, but being white in itself actually is what gives you the privilege. So when you say white power, you're talking about a system that is trying to take power from everybody else and keep the power. Black power was about equality, was about getting what was right for the people. But yet you infiltrated the Black Panthers because their call was able to unite a lot of different people to where they actually had rainbow coalitions between the hippies and the Black Panthers, or sympathizers to certain causes and the Black Panthers. Y'all remember what Fred Hampton was able to do. Y'all murdered him because you thought he was the Black Messiah that was going to rise and unite these people. Like, there's so much there's so much bullshit that goes on when it comes to the FBI. Like they don't have any love for me, any sympathy, nothing like that. But at the same time, they are responsible for calculating and coming up with statistics and data that serve certain purposes. So when I say that I hate the fucking FBI, I hate J. Edgar Hoover, I hate the racism that is embedded in there. I don't give a fuck if it's, it doesn't matter to me who is running that place. I don't care who's the director of the FBI. Like fuck them, anybody, because they do things that are very, very detrimental to the progress of African Americans. But at the same time, them being able to have access to databases and things like that, unless we're going to give that to civilian type of groups, which I'm all for. I just don't know what groups there are that you're going to do that with, because there are outside sources that will compile data, but they can only get the data that's provided, so there's issues there. But my main issue is the disparity when it comes to trying to break apart and break down black groups versus the way that you treat and basically coddle and help and endorse and promote, KKK as just a good old boy country club because they're not as active anymore. But we don't know if they're this active because we just found out that 6 black and brown bodies were hanging from trees and you're trying to say they're suicides. And we seen that the KKK just put out a front page. They say it's not an endorsement in a Virginia paper, but they're everywhere, right? They're trying to have rallies in Atlanta and Charleston and all these other places. So they are active. So then you need to go ahead and put them on the domestic terrorist list, but you won't because you a bitch. So fuck the FBI. Man. But there is a bright light in this whole lynching situation, if you can call it that. So Georgia finally, in the state senate, has passed a lynching law, or anti-hate crime law. Hate crime law. Basically, if you perform a hate crime, you can now be charged with hate crime, which is a step too late for the Ahmaud Arbery situation because they definitely committed a hate crime and should get that max punishment for that. And it's very, very reminiscent of Breonna Taylor's law, how after the fact, now you stop no-knock warrants, but you know what I'm saying, could have prevented this from the get-go by not having no-knock warrants in the first place, and she would still be alive. So these whole after-the-fact things, they suck because they're bittersweet situations. But as far as the Georgia hate crime law, it's finally passed. They had to get all of the right terminology in. These motherfuckers tried to put in police, y'all. They tried to add police as a protected class. I need y'all to understand something. Blue lives and black lives are two different types of things. Black lives are human beings. Like, they're a representation of human beings. Blue lives are an occupation. You go home and you take off your uniform and you're no longer blue. You're whatever other color you probably are. You know what I'm saying? I hate using people as colors, but y'all are getting what I'm talking about. Black lives cannot take off this skin. They can try to bleach it, and that's fucking sad. That's a sense of, or a form of African American self hatred that runs so deep, and that's something that we really do need to talk about eventually. That shit is sad. The Sammy Sosa's and things like that. Man, y'all, it's sad. But I'm sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So yes, it is now upon Brian Kemp the Simp to go ahead and sign this bill. So boy, don't fuck up. All eyes are on you because you are one of 4 states that don't have one. That's it. I know Wyoming's one. I think South Carolina was one of them, and there's like another southern state. And I mean, regardless, it doesn't even matter. Like the fact that you don't even have one is just appalling. But the fact that you're finally doing it now is good. You tried it in 2000. You tried to get one passed, but apparently the Supreme Court in Georgia said it was too constitutionally vague when you tried to get these protected people. But now you're able to pass it because of what's going on. Whatever, we'll take it. It's about time. Way overdue. Historical, monumental moment, as said by the NAACP president of Georgia. So, people are really, really grateful that this is in place. But the thing is, it should have already been there long time ago. So, anyways, I want to say something real quick about the. I'm sorry if I'm being so animated tonight. But about the immigration statuses, and not necessarily status, but the conditions. Y'all, we need to start movements. We need to start protests. We need to start campaigns. We need to get awareness to the fact that these people are being so mistreated. There's another 1,500 children that have gone missing. So the only thing that the logical person can assume, these children are being sex trafficked. And I know it hurts to hear that, but that's the truth. These children, you don't just go missing. You don't keep missing these. And you don't continuously have children that are reporting sexual abuse. This is a problem that we have to continuously bring light to. Just like we say Black Lives Matter every day, just like we're telling y'all to arrest the murderers of Breonna Taylor every day, we have to bring light to the fact that this heinous situation is going on right now. Like, real quick, I'll put it like this. Just imagine that all hell breaks loose in the United States, similar to how it's going down, and the economy just crashes and everything's fucked, right? And you're like, shit, fuck this. I'm leaving. I'm going to Canada, right? So you get to Canada, so they take your 2-year-old child and they say, nah, bro. And they push your ass back in the United States and say, fight for yourself. And then they throw your kid in the cage. Fucked up, right? Well, that's what's going on in our situation right now, and we have the ability to do something about it. They have been gassing them. Yes, they have been gassing them. We've had to sign petitions to get them to stop. Y'all, this shit is fucking serious. When you have a sick, psychotic individual like Trump in office who has done nothing but try to push a white supremacist narrative and agenda, the way that he's going at immigration is sick and racist. The way that he tried to get DACA fucked. Why? 800,000 individuals who do nothing but contribute to the well-being of our country. We're talking doctors and physicians and students and all kinds of amazing individuals with no criminal record who can't receive any benefits and give to the taxes. Like, I'm so tired of this bullshit, bro. I'm so fucking sick of it. Yes, all lives matter. So start fucking acting like it. Like, what do I have to do to get y'all to understand that this shit is going on now? This isn't in the history books that we're talking about, and this isn't in the future that we're planning for. This is in the fucking present, and we have to do something about it. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get on board. I know we've talked about immigration on here before, but the way that the standards are right now, it is imperative that this is one of the number one priorities that we consistently talk about. So call your politicians, call your lawmakers, call anybody that you need to get these issues rectified. I want to talk about the Kentucky primary. I know I've been talking, I've been going. Real quick, I want to talk about the Kentucky primary. So it was a complete clusterfuck, right? In one county, I think it was Jefferson County, where Louisville is, where there's a heavy African American population. They had one polling precinct that ended up closing at 6, that they had to get extended to 6:30. People were beating on walls and doors trying to get in to vote. Y'all keep saying that nobody's trying to vote, and then you keep making it this hard. You blame it on the coronavirus, but you've had months and months to anticipate either not having the primary or figuring out how to do it properly. But you keep doing this, so it's intentional. North Carolina trying to target African American voters with precision when it came to voter suppression. Texas, over 750,000 polling places shut down in black and brown communities. Georgia, what the fuck was that? Wisconsin, what the fuck was that? Kentucky, what the fuck was that? Like, y'all are making such a mockery of the process that you're turning people into political, apathetic individuals, and it sucks because we have some bright young individuals who actually understand what could change things, and they're thrown off because they understand what really happens. So Kentucky was another reminder of why we have to fight for voting rights. Still have to fight for civil rights. Still have to fight for voting rights, yet we're so-called citizens of this great fucking nation. Yeah, man. I don't know. I just don't fucking know. So, last thing that I want to talk about is this concept that I have. It's called "What is it to be a patriot?" Because I've been thinking about it, right? So is a patriot somebody who puts on the uniform and defends the country? Like, does that the only thing that qualifies that as a patriot? Because what if that soldier or that airman or that marine does something unpatriotic? What if he commits a war crime? Is he still a patriot because he wears that uniform? All right. So let's think about this. Say somebody like Colin Kaepernick. Is he a patriot because he took the ultimate sacrifice to stand up for what was right and use the Constitution for what it was written for? Does that make him a patriot? What about Edward Snowden? Hmm? Somebody who was tasked with the responsibility of letting people know that, this government is safe. This is a safe government to trust because I worked for them. I've worked for them. I trust them. And then he found out that you can't trust them. And then he had the proof and the evidence and he let it out. And then he was cast aside by a president who said he was going to do whistleblower acts and transparency, but never gave this man a shot. So, is he a patriot? You see, the issue that I had when Drew Brees brought up the whole situation about why he would never kneel for the flag, and it was about his grandfathers and that fought World War II or whatnot. There were our grandfathers also that were in World War II, but when they came back, they were fucked. Okay? They didn't get the same GI Bill. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get the same housing opportunities. There's a lot of shit that they didn't get a chance to get. So my question is, what do you really believe to be a patriot? Because a lot of the things that I'm seeing isn't patriotism. It's nationalism. It's a blind allegiance to this country, to this government, to this president, to nothing other than an ideal and a symbol, and it's an issue. You are not a patriot. You are a nationalist. And you need to think about that.